Hey Soap fans, welcome to another edition of Soap Central Live. I'm your host, Dan Kroll, and I'm so glad to be back here with you live this week following that extended Thanksgiving break. And it gives me the opportunity to say that we have late-breaking news to start this week's show. Brian Franz, the president of ABC Daytime, has stepped down. He will continue with the network until January 2012 when his contract expires. At that time, ABC Daytime is going to be rebranded. It'll have a new name and be under the name Times Square Studios. The new company will focus on the creation of non-scripted or reality programming. For more on this story, you can check out SoapCentral.com. We've got all the details there, including comments, statements, reactions. It's a lot of stuff going on there. But as I mentioned, we are back here live this week, which means you guys can call in or you can tweet to be part of this week's show. If you'd like to call in, the number is 866-472-5788, and you can tweet us at Soap Central Live. This show has been called a once-in-a-lifetime interview that's going to feature a reunion of two General Hospital stars right here on the air. That's a lot of pressure, everybody, so I'm going to have to step up my game and see what happens. So, you know what? Let's get on with today's show. My first guest is a Daytime Emmy nominee known for roles on Days of Our Lives, Another World, but she may be best known as Lesley Webber on General Hospital. She's here today to reunite with her on-screen daughter. It's coming up later in the show. Very exciting, everybody. And to talk about an online project that they're both involved in. Denise Alexander, welcome to Soap Central Live.
Thank you so much. I'm waiting for the ambulance to get here because when I heard your news, your breaking news, I had to faint.
Oh, you had to faint. That's an interesting reaction. A lot of people have been cheering and maybe getting ready to look for the local Bastille.
I'm just stunned.
Stunned in a good way or stunned in a bad way?
I'm breath taken away. The last few days have just been, well, I guess really the last 2 days. And it's more than one can comprehend, take in. It's just bizarre, and I've been walking around town or in and out of appointments, and people have been saying, oh, is this really true? And I don't have a clue. The best I knew was less than the worst rumors I was hearing. So I'm just sitting there going, really? Oh, good grief. And that's about where I am. I'm not a help to you at all.
That's actually a help because it gives us an interesting way to segue from that into our discussion. I think that a lot of soap fans will be maybe somewhat comforted in knowing that the folks that they like to see on screen really maybe not be much more in the know about what's going on than they are.
Well, it's inherent in the genre, I think. I started so long ago, and I've never yet been on a show where they really wanted the actors to know what was going to happen next. And it was a battle because you wanted to know. You were as interested as anybody watching the show, and more so it was your character and your character's interaction with the other characters. And I've never known an actor who enjoyed and loved being on soaps that wasn't as passionate about the storyline as the most passionate member of the audience. But it used to be a great bone of contention because the people in the office, didn't want to tell you what was going on because they were quite sure that you, the actor, would then play that. And that's about as silly as you can get in the field of entertainment because let's look at people who read the whole script to a movie and then have to go make it, or episodes of a TV show, or for goodness sakes, a play that they have to do every night. Part of your job is keeping it fresh and not playing the end result. But that's in great quotes and italics and underlined, were always very worried. I kind of understand that. I understood it once I got on the producing side of the camera where the actors are kind of like children or pets or something. And so I've seen both sides. But very, very seldom will you find a performer who knows as much as somebody sitting in the office knows. Or it seems people out there in the audience who now have you guys and the internet and the radio shows and the online stuff that wasn't available before.
Well, quickly going back, one of the things that I always like to find out is how everyone sort of got to where they are. I know that your father, I believe he was an agent.
Not when I started. I started as a kid, but he was in the business. And so he knew a lot of people, and that led to a door opening for me to go through into a world that I adored. He became an agent later on when I was, I guess I was in my teens, because he'd made a lot of friends. He was a very bright man. He loved theater. He'd grown up in the entertainment business and would be the person that a lot of people came to for advice, and then they wanted him to represent them, and that led him to that. And then ultimately he was a brilliant man who got impatient, I guess, or maybe bored, I don't know, felt he had done as much as he wanted to or could in a certain field, and he'd go on. And then he became a stockbroker and a charting analyst in that field. So at a point in my life, he was in there and a great help for me, and then he was gone. Does that make any sense at all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I know that we are getting calls, we are getting tweets, we're getting all kinds of stuff here from folks who are so excited about this reunion that we have in store here. Again, some folks have been calling it once in a lifetime. So before we bring on and make this, I feel like this is as close as I'm going to get to being Oprah as I can possibly get here. Let's just a little bit to sum up and to sort of set the stage. What are some of your fondest memories from your time on General Hospital?
The amazing actors that I was blessed enough to be able to work with, and as I grew in being a part of the show, the astounding opportunity as an actor, because they trusted me, the same they trusted me to be able to play such a wide range of emotional experiences, from heavy drama to sitcom comedy. It's that kind of an experience where you wind up doing literally thousands of shows is something very rare in the world in the entertainment business for actors. If you get to be a major superstar, you may make a couple of dozen films. If you're a journeyman actor, you may be fortunate enough to work with a theater company that does a different project, a different play every week, or every week of the year, or for part of the year. But nowhere else do you get an hour's worth of entertainment every single weekday. And so those two things together, to be able to do it, to not have to go out on auditions and worry if you're going to get it and get turned down for something maybe you really want, for what could be a hurtful reason, you're not pretty enough or not tall enough or whatever silly thing it might have been, just to be able to go into work every day and on both days of our lives, which you mentioned, and also in Another World, although that's my shortest experience, and on General Hospital. My goodness, I worked with amazing actors.
Do you think that this format, where you mentioned that it's one of a kind, where you can get a new story 5 days a week for an hour, do you think that we're being led to believe that audiences don't want that anymore? Do you think that that's an accurate statement?
I don't know if this is wishful thinking or not. I suspect not, because the format of the serial, or the ongoing, unfolding, dramatic storytelling with continuing actors, has been around forever. Dickens wrote serialized. He would write what we now know as one chapter of one of his books, and everybody would come back. In the early days of films, there were what were called serials. The only one name I can remember, but there were many of them, this is back in the day of talkies, was, I believe, called The Perils of Pauline, where you had one character that you loved, you identified with, you cared about, and every week she was going to get into a different problem. I recently went with my husband, who is a member of the Motion Picture Academy. Over the summer, they did a series of, they did film noir, and then they did silence, so you got to see a lot of things that were before your time. And I think that format, whether it's General Hospital or Desperate Housewives, which is leaving us, or Harry's Law, which is not, or Boardwalk Empire, they are all, in effect, serials, which is the format of soap opera.